So finally we get to part 3. Actually, I've got no idea how many parts it's going to be, but we're going to get through it. So just recapping on what's happened so far. Have a spectacular engine out. I go down on a farmer's field. I do a nice long flight to Ellis Ross. The wind cheats me. Get to the border. Get through the border. Get onto a wild goose chase. Don't find a takeoff spot. Get to a fuel station as an overnight spot 20 kilometers north of the border. And the next morning I have a great flight to Palapia. From there I get mugged. Then I get to Sarawi, 50 kilometers further, where I get arrested. After I get arrested, I get a get out of jail free card, and I move on for the best flight I've had so far, which was the flight to Kubu Island, and I make it within 5 minutes of disqualification. Absolutely fantastic. Now, if you guys remember, I said I saw a pilot on the horizon. And I pretty much parked my glider right next to him. I mean, literally right next to him. And it turns out it was Pavel Brezina, the owner of Nirvana. This was the guy that was going to be my wingman for the flight. Pretty much, I was going to chase him because he had the air flight and he was pretty much got, like in the video games, unlimited ammo in the sense of fuel. He can just fly as far as he wants. In actual fact, Pavel only had to refuel twice for the whole of the Icarus. I mean, that is just ridiculous. 8 hours, 30 minutes, and he just had to refuel twice pretty much to finish the whole of the Icarus. Around about that. So, we're both elated to see each other. He had no idea where I was. I had no idea where he was up until we get to Kubu Island. So I chased him down. The reason why he didn't know, his cell phone wasn't working. So he was just enjoying his own trip, and he's got amazing stories of his own. He slept in a village, he slept in a shack, had to use a outhouse as a bathroom for the first time in his life. It's, he's got to tell that story. But we're glad to see each other, and for the first time, I know that I can fly with another pilot and pick his brain about what the conditions are like, how we should take it on, what's going to be the plan of action, etc. So I was really looking forward to that next step of enjoying the Icarus with another pilot, at least another pilot on my 6 or on my side. All right, so we set up our tents. We fuel up, and that put me around 20 liters fuel that I had in my tank for a long flight, a pretty long flight to Panamatenga. Now Pavel was trying to talk me into Panamatenga. I just wanted to do a shorter flight to Nata where I could refuel all the way up to 28 liters and make a dash to Panamatenga, which is a safer bet for me. But somehow he just talked me into flying straight to Panamatenga. I knew that if it was possible to reach there, it was going to be either a spectacular true to the Icarus, landing out in the middle of nowhere, running out of fuel kind of scenario. But it somehow just felt doable having another pilot there and it being Pavel. So it just, I don't know, he talked me into it. So the next morning, I'm fueled up, got 20 liters. I don't know how much fuel Pavel needs. He just needs fumes or whatever. And we do our takeoff, and it just turns out it's a massive headwind. It's massive. I mean, it was just, I think we got something like 12 to 15 knots. And we weren't going anywhere. So I drop to the deck. I try and get as close as possible to the surface to get maximum speed. Pavel tries a little bit higher. So I was pushing a bit faster than he was. And I just said straight to him, listen, after about 15 minutes flying, I said to him, you know what, I'm cutting straight across the pans. I'm going to Nata because with a headwind, if it gets stronger, we might not even make Nata. So just do the right decision and we go straight for Nata. It'll be, it was supposed to be an hour's flight to Nata, and with that headwind, it could easily turn into 2.5 hours. So eventually he does make the call and he joins me on that cutting across the pans. Now that's nothing you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to fly across the pans, especially at low altitude, because if something happens, nobody can recover you. The soil turns into a kind of mud, like some soup mix or something, you can't drive over it with a car. So the guys are really stressed to us before the race, don't fly over the pans. If you have a malfunction, you're going to leave your machine inside the pans. It's not coming out. So we knew that, and I knew that, but who gives a shit? And we cut across the pans. I was about like 10, 15 meters above the ground, and there was a spectacular flight. I mean, we saw springbuck and a wildebeest. It was amazing. We're seeing all these animals just drifting across these pans, and it was a humongous place. It really was. It's fantastic. Absolutely, probably the best flight or scene to have out of the air is flying over that pan. And then, things just, started turning really bad when it comes to the wind. I mean, it just dropped down. I've got a Hadron, and Pavel's flying a Hadron. Now, both those gliders are rated at 85 kilometers an hour, no wind speed. It has great penetration. It buggers off, especially if you're on the speed bar. And at some point, just north of the pans, I can actually see Nata. It's about 15 kilometers away. I can see it. And the wind just keeps on becoming stronger. I come up to about 20, 25 meters above the ground, maybe 30 meters above the ground. And the speed drops down to 7 knots. I shit you not. 7 knots. That is all I'm getting. And I'm aware of the fact that this thing should be doing around 45, 50 knots, and I'm doing only 7. So in actual fact, if I wasn't going to go into a town in Icarus style and try and land between buildings and fuel stations and things like that with that kind of rotor wind, it's a recipe for disaster. Not only just putting us out of the race, but the death of a pilot most likely. So, I did the responsible thing, which probably saved my race in that sense. I picked a little bit of an open field. We're already out of the pans, and I picked something that looks like a lawn-ish, and I did a full trims open landing with a Hadron. Now, I wouldn't even think about doing that in normal conditions. I mean, that would be insane. It would be suicide. It would just way too fast. And, it almost went to a standstill to get a Hadron X on the ground. Now, anyone that flies a Hadron knows that is ridiculous. So, the first time ever, I land that Hadron, perfect put down, and get the wing as quickly as possible onto the ground before it drags me. And I look up and I can see Pavel, and he says, "Hey, what you doing?" And I said, "No, I'm landing because it's nuts." And he says, "Okay, I'm landing." And he comes down. It looks like a World War II bomber shot down. Goes, he doesn't know what throttle will be at. It's just ridiculous. It's becoming more and more unstable. And he puts it down quite nicely, survives, and we're stuck there because nobody's going anywhere on that wind. And all right, so this is day 3. Lost count. And we just took off from Kubu Island, heading straight actually we wanted to go to Parameter. The problem is that the wind is just insanely strong, so we diverted to Nata, and the problem was that it became unflyably strong. It's the strongest wind I've ever flown in. So I decided to do a safety landing, and I just found some piece of a little soft enough and not too rough to take a safety landing. The wind must be close to about 30-35 kilometers an hour, and it's the first time ever I've landed a Hadron XX full trims open just to get slow enough onto the ground, safe enough on the ground. So there's Pavel Brezina, he followed me in. So he also chose to take the landing. We're 10 kilometers short of Nata. I can't believe we didn't make it, but yeah, it's not a cookie crumble. So the wind's going to drop down later, and we'll take off again and hop to Nata, refuel, and then on about 200 kilometer stretch for Parameter. That's when it's quite nice to have someone with you, because we could actually do something, and just you sitting on your own. I built a bit of a wind shadow behind the two machines. Put the wing up, actually just one machine, and I put my big ass 24 Hadron up on the other side, and I build a beautiful wind shadow, take out my little stove, and I make us a cup of tea. How's that? That is just brilliant. I don't think anyone had such a pleasant experience from their kit in the Icarus, especially not unsupported. yeah, so you know, Pavel's eyes just this huge, like saucer-like, because you go, wow, the stuff is coming out of a kit. I said, yeah, you got your own kit as well. You can take your stove out. We can do a double tea. So we have 2 teas before we start with the main course, which is like a whole nice stew with noodles, a little fire going. I know it's irresponsible in the wind, but the wind shadow was quite good. So we do this thing. Brilliant meal, teas, everything, and you know. Just after the meal, it's like an hour long or something, the wind starts dying down. Brilliant! Everything just works out perfectly. All right, pack it all up. Here we go. Take off. We get it to Nata. Now, Nata, what a beautiful place. And, you know, it's just like this rural town in the middle of Botswana. It's difficult to explain to people. When you look at the pictures, you start understanding that it's very rural. It's got these little houses all over the place. Nothing bigger than a one-story little houses. And I'm still on the point of view that I'm not going to be walking with my machine anywhere that I don't have to. Not 10 meters, not 20 meters. I don't want to walk with that weight. It is a ridiculous amount of weight, and I don't want to struggle. So I've got a GPS point, which I took out of Google Earth, of a fuel station. I know there's a bit of an open field. I'm just hoping and praying that, you know, there's not something developed in the meantime, in the difference between when Google Earth pictures are taken and, you know, present time. So I get to the midtown, and Pavel says, no, he wants to fly to the airfield. I don't even know how he knows there's an airfield. I didn't know there was an airfield. So he moves on to the airfield. And I say to him, nope, sorry, this is where we're going to separate again, because I am not walking. And I know there's no fuel in Botswana at airfields. These are grass and dirt strips, and there's nobody there. It's unmanned. No, he wants to go to the airfield because there's nobody that's going to mug us. He's got a good point. I already got mugged. All right, you know, I'm running out of gloves. But I just you know, I'm dropping it next to the fuel station. I'll get to the fuel station as quickly as possible, and I'll have a Coke. That's a done deal. That's pretty much sold. Anyway, so I think it was lost in translation. Wow, I go down, I between the trees and whatever else, and it's thermic, and I just put it down perfectly. I'm done. Great, fantastic. Val comes over the radio. Hey, where you at? And I say, well, no, I'm here at the fuel station. It's perfect. All right, fine, I'll come. And he comes in. And then the whole place is just swamped with people. It's brilliant. It just, you know, it's brilliant because it's not my landing, it's his landing. He's got to deal with it. He does this typical thing. I mean, he's a brilliant acro pilot. So he comes in with that F200, engine on, foot dragging for like 50 meters, but he didn't actually, I don't think he looked at what direction the wind was, because he was actually foot dragging downwind towards the people. And the people are going nuts. They're thinking he's going to crash into the crowd. So they are running all over the place, jumping over fences, walls, whatever. They're just trying to get out of the way. I'm laughing because I'm thinking this is real funny. I know he's going to stop right on the dime, which he does. But anyways, now he puts his wing down and we both elated. Yay, we made it. High fives, low fives, everything else. So it's all good. He brings his gear over. He says, now what? We're going to walk. I said, no, it's a couple of meters, like 50 meters to the fuel station. He says, no, well, I'm not going to do that. You know, I don't want to walk. And he looks upset. And I say, well, wait, you know, and here comes a car, a pickup truck. And it stops right next to us because this guy is just, he's curious. He wants to see what these machines are all about. Yes, I've got a pickup truck. So I said to the guy, I walk up to him and say to him, listen, will you give us a lift, please? Be nice. We're 2 pilots, we're in a competition, we need help. Yeah, no problem, get on the back. So that's what the picture is on, I'm posting now. Yeah, so we get onto the back of the truck, no hold up, nothing. Truck, no hold up, nothing. I mean, it was literally like it was prearranged. It was perfect. It wasn't prearranged, but it was perfect. We get on the back of the truck, we get to the garage, we refuel, and we bought something like 10 Cokes and 10 bottles of water. And trust me when I say we finished everything. We sit under the tree, we finish our Cokes and our water, and now we're going to take off. So I say to Pavel, listen, what are we doing? What's the plan? Are you doing your own thing? Am I doing my own thing? We haven't actually discussed it. Are we racing each other now? What's the deal? I know we're wingman, but, you know, it's gentleman's rule, you know. So he says, no, don't worry about it. You know, I actually want to fly with you. We're gonna do this wingman thing. All right, so okay, cool. So We lay out our wings. It is crazy hot, man. We're talking 30, 35 degrees. So he pulls up first, and boom, he's airborne, he's gone. He goes on. And it's my turn to get off the ground. It's just my luck. So I pull it up, full fuel, full everything, and I step into a hole in the grass. And I can use some really big words in describing how hard I smacked down face first into the ground. Nothing but, I put the engine off, obviously, quick enough. But I ate some dirt, and I was, I got up and I had my little tantrum dance again. I was just so upset. Why is this happening to me? I checked everything before takeoff. Why is this happening to me? It's just happening. And I can't see Pavel anymore, so he's gone. So, oh, hell, I'm on my own again. Not a problem. I mean, this is the Icarus. It's about flying alone. So I fold up on the wing again, and the next takeoff, I get airborne. But I can't see him. He's gone. So I do the Panamatenga leg. Now, that was also, it was a 105-mile flight. So 180, 85 kilometers to go. A little bit more than that. And, man, I tell you, if you're seeing someone else flying ahead of you, it just makes it better. It just somehow you feel better with the fact that you're knowing that guy is going through the same thing that you're going through. But I wasn't seeing anyone. So, and this is a gorgeous place as well. We're flying over elephant sands. It is a direct routing, and it's just elephants and it's animals and it's beautiful bush. But it's also thermic monsters, thermal hotspots that cause these express trains. Express elevators, straight up 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 feet. When I got sucked in more than 4 or 5, that's an understatement, 50 times in that flight probably. I got sucked into a thermal that'll just, I'd switch the engine off and I'm holding it, squeezing me into my seat. I'm just going, it's going all the way up. And I'd start cursing. I'd curse and I'd curse and I'd curse. Because it's not that anything is wrong. This is what we chose to do. We chose to fly in the middle of the day, stupid as we are, but there's what you're going to get when you fly in the middle of the day. So it's this express train up, and it's the downward side and the other side because it's hot, and you need to use all the power of your engine to maintain altitude, and then you hook up on the next thermal, and it keeps on doing this roller coaster ride. So get all the way, I think it was about 150 kilometers down the tube, got between 30 and 50 kilometers to go, when the thermals are so bad that it just keeps on shaking. It was like not the whole express elevator thing, but it was so constantly so bad. And I hear this thud. And I look around, looking at the propeller still turning, everything's still fine, but it was quite a loud thud. And I just can't, what the hell was that? And, I wasn't completely over no man's land because I could see the main road. It just, pure interesting. I mean, I was flying no man's land most of the time, and then suddenly I see the road and I hear the thud, and I decide, what, safety's sake, let me just try, for a couple of minutes fly next to the road. There's a little voice in the back of my head saying to me, fly next to the road for a while. So I go next to the road, but I also drop altitude. I think I was again, very low. Went up from thousands of feet back down. I'm 35 meters above the ground. And I looked down on my left just to check the reserve line again, the reserve fuel line again. And it's gone. It's not there. Yeah, it's gone. It's like magic. And look behind me, and it's chopped off. So I chopped off my fuel line, flew for a few minutes. And what happens with the reserve fuel line is that if it's blocked somehow on the Nirvana system, then the engine will die because there's no depressurizing through a ventil tube. So round about that time, I try and figure out. I get hold of the pipe eventually. It was sucked into the prop. It was damaged, and I'm trying to fiddle with this thing, and the engine stops. What? Dead. And I drop the pipe and I try and restart. Nothing's happening. Yeah, well, it doesn't want to fire up. And I'm 35 meters above the ground, and it's downwind. The wind direction did change, and there's no time to turn around. I'm already too low above the road, so I do a landing right next to the main road with trucks coming and going. It doesn't stop. There's a lot of traffic. and I do execute a perfect landing next to the main road. Now, I'm probably out of the competition, right? Because I probably got a damaged prop and the reserve fuel line is out, so what the hell am I going to do? Fortunately, you know, I take this machine off. I am upset, but I'm also very thankful to be alive. Especially because I didn't try and compensate and to get into the wind to do the landing. So I'm on the ground and I open up and I see, all right, the fuel line's damaged. That's out of it. So I come up with this idea, all right, I'm going to dump the tank, the reserve tank. Thinking about how many legs I've got left to fly, I don't actually need to have a reserve tank anymore. The Instinct does have like 150 kilometer range on the main tank alone. And if I can dump that damn tank that is just so heavy, I could get over a lot of problems I'm having with the takeoffs being so heavy. So I rip out the main tank, I take out what's left of the reserve line, and I put the fuel cap on and blah, 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 and it fires up, no problem, great. You know, I've got about 50 minutes left of the day to get that last bit of a few kilometers done. And so now it comes down to the takeoff. Now I didn't land at a field, there's just the main road, and it's truck after truck after truck after truck. And I'm thinking, all right, I gotta execute this takeoff perfect or I'm out of the race. And I don't have time to waste. So I lay out the wing, I walk for a few meters, and I see there's a jeep track that's going perpendicular to the road into the bush. But the wind is also not 100% lined up with this jeep track. But nevertheless, you know, I gotta pull this off somehow. So I fold out the wing next to the main road, just between the trucks coming past, because every time a truck comes past, it blows up the wind, you know, kind of like drags the glider up, and it got to fold it out again. So I fold it up perfectly, and I know what I'm going to have to do is, I've got about 10 meters, that's all I've got on the side of the road, to pull up, have it perfectly above my head, and then start counter steering and running to. I saw Dave Wainwright do this in a video once, and I've never practiced this myself, to try and do a crosswind takeoff. Just sounds stupid, doesn't it? It just sounds Icarus. So perfect pull up, and I'm running. I've got my 10 meters that I've got to run. I wish I took a video of this just to try and explain what it looks like, but maybe that picture you get some idea. And I'm turning, and I've got this thing crosswind worked out, and I throttle up, and I'm running down the jeep track as far as I could, and I get off the ground, and it's, yes! I pulled this off. I pulled the whole Hail Mary pass. That is it. Yes! And I do it, and I'm on the road, and everything is running perfectly. And I can finish that last bit flying into Panamatenga. And fortunately for me, Pavel's on the radio. And I have no idea where I'm going to land. I've never seen Panamatenga. I didn't even explore it on Google Maps or Google Earth, because the whole idea was we're going to land at the Panamatenga border. That's separate from the Panamatenga town. If we land at the border, we clear the border, that's a whole different set of problems right over there. But the town itself is where we're going to go now, because from Panamatenga, we're going to fly to Kasane. So I fly into the town, and Pavel comes over the radio and he says, "Hey, I'm glad to find you on the radio." So yeah, well, what's up? He says, "Well, come to the fuel station, land directly at the fuel station." And perfect, you know, executed a perfect landing coming in. And that was the end of day 3.
Good.
It was, you know, it was another high five kind of moment, getting onto the ground, knowing that I pulled off this miracle of getting back into the air.
How was your landing?
After I've chopped off the fuel line. I survived the landing, was able to get back into the air, and was able to finish the day, and I'm still in the race. Can't get better than that.